beginning of the public holiday in River State as they prepare to count down to the elections happening on the 5th of October. And the public holiday was declared by the Governor Siminalayi Fubara, to enable the citizens in River State prepare for the elections. And we'll be bringing you updates regarding the preparation, as well as the drama that is between the election preparation and the court judgment. I am Olive Emodi, and you're welcome to Breakfast Central.
And I am Osaogi Ogbawan, welcoming you as well. And of course, encouraging you to be part of the conversations this morning simply by using our social media platforms at News Central TV. And of course, if you're going to be watching on YouTube as well, quickly share your thoughts with us on any of the conversations that we're having. The phone lines will also be open sometime in the 8 o'clock hour. Now, while Rivers State, of course, goes back and forth concerning the local government elections as declared by Governor Nyesom Wike, Mr. President, of course, has announced that he will be taking a trip to the United Kingdom for his 2-week annual leave. And of course, that has also created a buzz across the country. Loads of people are sharing their views and their thoughts, concerning that. And it's a pretty popular conversation that we've seen in the last 24 hours with a lot of people condemning it and then pointing out, that there's something absolutely wrong, or it just doesn't feel normal for a president to leave his country and go to a different country entirely, for holiday, regardless of how, it's not illegal. It's still just, optically completely wrong, and I'm not sure what the defense will be. And I also got to see yesterday Sam Omashe, I believe, defending Mr. President once again, defending his Independence Day speech, but not defending the details in the speech, such as the 30 trillion naira ways and means, or the other things that were detailed in the speech, and including, of course, the 30-day youth conference. But instead, he was pointing out that Mr. President delivered his Independence Day speech standing. And it was something to celebrate, yes, that, it was something to celebrate, to see that that other presidents, have delivered their Independence Day speech sitting down, but this president stood up to give his speech, and it's something that we should
be celebrating. Yeah. We should be clapping for him. That as if Nigeria is his gym and this is fitness goals that we're measuring his ability to be fit. I understand why that might come up, because he thinks people have attacked the president's ability to govern based on his health being at 100. But that's not our issue. The issue is, one, I'm reminded of an article I saw some months back. It was an article by the BBC where they had referred to William Ruto and President Bola Tinubu as Africa's flying presidents. And, they had talked about in the article how Alhaji Atiku Abubakar said we didn't need a tourist-in-chief. We wanted a president, a commander-in-chief, not a tourist-in-chief. Majority of the reactions that we're seeing will be because just after the elections, just after the Independence Day celebration, an Independence Day celebration that was marred with a lot of irregularities, such as the quote-unquote low-key celebrations, and more importantly, protests that broke out in different parts of the country because young people have shared how they are displeased with the way the country has been run. 2 days after that, or a day after that, we announced that the president is traveling. Yeah. What kind of message is being communicated? Should that holiday happen now? Especially because there's been a lot of trips that have happened in the past few weeks. No. Even if you check the number of trips that have happened in the past, ever since he got into office, it's been a lot of trips. There's him cutting his trip, coming back from Onga. There's the visit to China. It's just a number of things have been happening. Again, it comes back to what language are we trying to communicate to the people of Nigeria, whilst telling the people of Nigeria to be patient, give us a little more time. But you have enough time to flex. Yeah. That's how the people are interpreting it. We're going to be taking it much later today when we take what Nigeria is saying, because one of the tweets is, you're asking us to be patient, but you are not patient enough. You can still travel to London and have your holiday.
For me, it's not the frequency of trips. You could travel if there are important engagements that the president needs to go for in different parts of the world, with, of course, the United Nations General Assembly. Of course, he had the Vice President representing him there. But if there's important engagements, you have bilateral meetings that you need to go for. Even if we have ministers, foreign affairs, we have people who, should also be able to handle that without Mr. President flying there all the time. But if he feels like he must be there, that's fine. But there's something obviously wrong, and it doesn't just sound okay that the president on his, well, 2-week annual leave can decide that he wants to spend that leave outside Nigeria. And that for me, yesterday I was asking, what was the thinking that was, that birthed the idea of a 30-day youth conference? Who thought about it, and then presented to Mr. President, and Mr. President thought, oh, this is a brilliant idea. We should go ahead and announce this. And for me, that's what I'm trying to wrap my head around. And there's the same thing with those who don't find anything absurd or wrong or awkward with the president deciding to spend his 2-week holiday in the UK. So are we? I don't know why does it sound wrong? Because that's not normal. Like, you don't randomly see Cyril Ramaphosa say he's going to France or he's going to Australia, or President Joe Biden
going on leave and he's coming to Nigeria to come and
spend holiday.
Holiday.
And for me, during the Buhari administration, one of the things that I continue to point out was that if you continue to take your medical care in Germany or in France or in the UK, and you've been president for 8 years, it means that for 8 whole years, you weren't able to fix the healthcare of your own country where you were president to be good enough for you to receive medical treatment in your country. And it's pretty much the same thing with the current administration. So if the president randomly, routinely goes elsewhere for medical treatment, medical care, so it means that you as president don't have a hospital that you've been able to fix in your own country for you to receive medical care. And the same thing with tourism. So your own country, and the president has a house in Lagos that everybody knows his house is in Lagos. So does that mean, and yes, there might be other reasons why he's going to the UK.
Well, it might be because if he stays in Nigeria, a number of you will not allow him rest.
I've heard that excuse before.
Especially with the talks of likelihood of a cabinet reshuffle. So a number of them will probably be trooping to where to disturb him, and they won't let him rest.
Yeah.
But in London, unfortunately, this period, there might also be an increase of those who are going to, or an increase in trips to the UK. There have been talks about the cabinet reshuffle potentially happening. There are people who go and do courtesy visits, maybe in the UK. But yes, it's not. We're not trying to always look out for things to criticize about the government. It is just that it is glaring that when you see things like this, it rubs out the people the wrong way, especially because we're a country that is currently dealing with hunger, poverty, and not just hunger and poverty, the worst that we have seen ever as a nation. And also, we're just coming off the back of protests, back-to-back protests in August that, we're still talking about with some of the participants still facing treason charges, facing treason charges in court. And then we had the Fearless in October protest. Yes, it didn't have a large number, like a number of people had thought it will. But the fact that people did not show up as much is not because people are comfortable. It's also because you get to a point where you think, I protest, I come out, I protest, they shut me up. What's the point?
Fatigue, I believe.
It's fatigue, and it's the fear-mongering. So it might be interpreted as a lack of sensitivity on the part of the administration.
So listen, and this is, the way I see things. It doesn't even matter if there was protest or not. Like, even if Nigeria is completely at peace and there is nobody who's disgruntled or, angry with the way that the country is, the economy is fine, it still doesn't make any sense for a president to randomly just go to a different country to holiday.
But why don't they go transfer now?
I mean, that's for me. And of course, if you then add the little details that you've mentioned, which are Nigeria's current reality, it makes it even worse that optically. So what I would expect, is those around Mr. President, you should be able to say that optically this looks wrong. It looks bad, and we should be able to, let's not do this one, right? There's other ones that we should be able to manage, but this particular one, it looks bad, except there is other reasons that he is going to the UK that they wouldn't,
that's
reveal.
Due to security, or it's classified information.
Maybe, I don't know.
Anyway, congratulations, safe journey to the president, and we will be taking a number of the reactions that Nigerians have regarding this story later when we look at what Nigerians are saying. But let's bring you our top stories and share with you breakfast headlines. Previous local government election will hold, Governor Fubara says, and this is, of course, amidst the controversy that has surrounded the legality of that or otherwise. APC has finished Nigeria, PDP is dead, Kwankwaso says. And Lagos Ogun tops Nigeria's health readiness index. Away from that, we'll also be looking at the Senate dropping the bill seeking license for private investigators. We'll be reviewing the newspaper front pages. We'll have our analysts and then we'll open the phone lines. Join us for all these and more on Breakfast Central.
Now let's begin breakfast headlines in West Africa, Nigeria, where at least 60 bodies have been recovered following a boat accident in Niger State. According to a release by the press secretary to the council chairman of Mokwa local government, Abubakar Dakani, 10 survivors have been found. He disclosed that the boat was carrying over 300 passengers when it capsized at the notorious Bajibo River in Mokwa local government area of Niger State on Tuesday evening. And on to security matters, the senator representing Borno South in the National Assembly, Senator Ali Ndume, has called on President Bola Tinubu to hire the services of military contractors to wipe out the remnants of Boko Haram terrorists in Borno State. Ndume, who hailed the gallant performance of the Nigerian military and civilian JTF, however, said that they were ill-equipped to carry out the task of eliminating the remaining insurgents in the northeast. Now, away from that, the House of Representatives on Wednesday rejected the Commander of the Federal Republic CFR honor announced by President Bola Tinubu in his Independence Anniversary speech to be conferred to the Speaker of the House, Tajudeen Abbas. The House also called on President Tinubu to confer on the office of the Speaker the national honor of the Grand Commander of the Order of the Niger, GCON, insisting that the office of the Speaker is higher than the Chief Justice of Nigeria, who is to be conferred with the GCON. Well, let's also tell you that the People's Democratic Party has described the 64th Independence Day speech by President Bola Tinubu as another lethargic and disappointing speech with a windy rhetoric of false performance claims, scripted to delude Nigerians in the face of abysmal failure of the All Progressive Congress administration. The PDP, in a statement signed by its National Publicity Secretary, Debo Ologunagba, said that Nigerians are appalled that the president's speech did not address issues or prefer any solutions to the myriad of economic and security problems created by the APC government, for which Nigerians are hurting. And President Bola Tinubu has departed Abuja on Wednesday for the United Kingdom to begin a 2-week vacation, part of his yearly leave. According to a statement by the Special Advisor to the President on Information and Strategy, President Tinubu will use the 2 weeks as a working vacation and a retreat to reflect on his administration's economic reforms. The statement added that the president will return to the country after the leave expires. Away from Nigeria now to East Africa, the International Organization for Migration says rescue workers are searching for 75 people believed to be missing after smugglers forced them to swim in open sea of Djibouti's coast. With 48 persons already confirmed dead, the UN's migration agency said it was the second deadliest disaster on the route this year, making 2024 the deadliest on record. The nighttime incident involved 2 boats carrying 320 people from Yemen, a perilous journey on the so-called Eastern route for migrants from Africa. And that's all on Breakfast Headlines. So let's head back to Breakfast Central and get into our top stories for today. I am Osaogie Ogbonwa.
Welcome back to Breakfast Central. A bill seeking to license the operation and practice of private investigators in Nigeria has been stepped down on the floor of the Senate. The sponsor of the bill, Osita Ungu, was advised to step down the bill after some senators described the proposed bill as a recipe for disaster. News Central's Emmanuel Bagudu reports.
It's the first plenary of the week on the floor of the Senate, and the bill seeking to legalize the practice of private investigation in the country was discussed by lawmakers. The sponsor of the bill took time to highlight some provisions in the bill which he says seeks to provide a framework for the licensing and practice of private investigators in the country.
Serious socio-economic and even political consequences. A legislative framework will provide a much-needed clarity and consistency in regulation of the information gathering practices of private investigators. This will help to enhance capacity to access information relevant to investigation and also help protect privacy of citizens.
This divided the Senate as some lawmakers spoke in favor of the bill while others kicked against the bill, saying it will cause more harm than good.
For all intents and purposes, it's desirable. We should be able to support it and pass it. The licensing of these people should be able to regulate the conduct of people so licensed. It's not for witch hunting or somebody going to investigate anybody at his whims and caprices.
The effort of this private investigation is very complementary in many dimensions, and this will assist our businessmen in the area mentioned by the mover in terms of fraud prevention, insurance fraud, affiliation, and many more, even in bank charges.
I think that it would be risky to license anyone to have the right to approach any one of us and ask certain questions because the law has empowered him so to do. It will just be a license for extortion, a license for blackmail, an unnecessary rivalry, and it will not be controllable.
I'm against the bill because if you are asking people to go and be licensed, I presently practice private investigation in this country. I investigated a lot of people in this country as a forensic accountant. I cannot go for another regulatory agency for me to be licensed to practice.
After a heated deliberation, the President of the Senate advised the sponsor of the bill to step down the bill and further consult with other lawmakers who have raised concerns about the bill.
A country where we have numerous wives, and then any of the wives can approach a private investigator, and they will bring very false evidence against you, and at the end of the day, you end up being scandalized. Social media will take that report as if the report is true. But however, I want to urge a view of the divergence of views and the concerns raised by your colleagues. Do you want to reject this and then represent it so that we just step it down?
The issue you raised now was one of my major concerns. Somebody said that several men will not be very comfortable with it because it will impinge on their freedom of going to the other way.
Meanwhile, a bill seeking to establish a Federal University of Agriculture and Tropical Studies, Irabiji, Osun State, passed second reading on the floor of the Senate.
Most of this focus on science and technology, hence the need to establish the Federal University of Agriculture and Tropical Studies, Irabiji, Osun State, to increase the number of agricultural universities. This will help the back-to-land policy of the federal government to ensure the diversification of our national economy.
Distinguished colleagues, a bill for an act to establish the Federal University of Agriculture and Tropical Studies, Irabiji, Osun State, and make comprehensive provisions for its due management and administration and for related matters 2024 SB 569. Second reading taken.
The bill, if passed into law and assented to by Mr. President, makes provision for 3 Federal University of Agriculture and Tropical Studies in the country. In Abuja for News Central, I am Emmanuel Bagudu.
An interesting report there by News Central's Emmanuel Bagudu. The private investigator bill was quite interesting. Now, we've seen that private investigators in several parts of the world are legal, in the UK, in the US. Yes, there is a limit to, they have limits, and which is just like with every profession. There is an allowance, a legality to it, but you have certain boundaries with which you must work. If you have nothing to hide, why are you afraid? It was very interesting to see the reasons why they stepped down the bill. And the angle they're not looking at it from is that we're a country that is battling great levels of insecurity. There are many people who, unfortunately, have lost family members, lost loved ones to the hands of kidnappers, bandits, terrorists, whilst it's primarily the responsibility of government to provide security to the citizens and to ensure that these kidnaps don't happen in the first place, and where they happen, to ensure that the kidnapped citizens are rescued. It doesn't always happen like that. If we face the reality of what is, yes, there's a law that prevents payments to terrorists, but what we've seen is families by themselves go in corners, put funds together, and go to rescue their family members. This might be an area where private investigators may have stepped in to help save the day.
I mean, for me, I'm, a little disappointed with with all due respect to the Senate President, a little disappointed with the angle that he took, in that conversation.
About their wives.
We'll talk about
that much later.
We'll talk about it. Let's move the conversation to River State this morning. The show of power between the current governor of River State and his predecessor took a divergent turn when Governor Nyesom Wike of River State attacked the FCT Minister Nyesom Wike, saying it is only empty containers that make noise. It is in response to the farmer's claim that he initiated the multi-billion naira ring road project in River State when he was a state governor. During a reception organized in his honor by the Rivers Ijaw People's Congress, Wike accused the PDP members who were supporting Nyesom Wike, stating that he is bigger than all of them.
While the fight has degenerated to who initiated the construction of the ring road in the state, Governor Fubara warned that River State is nobody's enterprise and he cannot be intimidated.
I cannot give my kidney or my liver to anybody. I won't. If that is the only reason for me to be loyal, I will not be. But I will not do the wrong thing. I will stand on the side of right. I make bold to say it. There is no security agency that in this state that I've called any day to go and do something wrong. I've never. I don't have any need for it. But I know what they do. And they keep failing because God has left them.
Meanwhile, the River State Governor, Nyesom Wike, has declared October 3rd and 4th public holidays in River State ahead of the local government election. He announced strict restrictions on vehicular movement of residents from midnight on Friday, October 4th to 5 p.m. on election day, despite counter-reactions from INEC over the release of voters' register to the River State Electoral Commission.
Therefore, I wish to advise and request all registered voters to go to their polling unit to exercise their franchise by voting for the candidate of their choice, as security personnel would be there to maintain order and ensure peaceful poll as a matter of constitutional duty. We are leaving no stone unturned to enable all registered voters to travel to their communities to participate, peacefully exercise their civil responsibility at their polling unit. To this end, I hereby declare Thursday and Friday, the 3rd and 4th of October 2024, a public holiday for citizens to travel to their communities.
Well, joining us to look at how the current feud between the political godfather and FCT Minister Nyesom Wike and Nyesom Wike is affecting the state and the PDP is Ipunabo Inkotaria, former SA to the FCT Minister while he was governor of the state, and Honorable Collins Odu, former member of the River State House of Assembly. Good morning, gentlemen. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning, and thanks for having me.
All right. Mr. Inkotaria, I'm going to start with you and the controversy concerning the Ring Road project. Let's get your thoughts quickly on that. Why is this a major debate? Who started the project?
The project has always been in the pipeline. I mean, it was started by JTSP, or it was ideated by JTSP. But when you talk of actual commencement, I think all the T's were crossed and the I's were dotted by the former governor, who is now the minister of the FCT, Nyesom Wike.
Okay, I mean, so it was started by Nyesom Wike, but it's currently being finished, if I would say, by the current governor. Is that what you're saying?
I said it was ideated, and I think contractual obligations were met. But when we talk of commencement of work, we are talking of Fubara, Governor Fubara.
Okay, Mr. Odu, is that, I mean, do you agree with that?
I agree to the extent that Governor Fubara flagged off the project. Immediately he began his tenure, but like he said, the project has been there in the pipeline, but Governor Nyesom Wike was the one who did the feasibility studies and made it a contractual document before it was handed over to the current governor.
All right, let's now move away from that project to talk about the elections, the pink elephant in the room. The local government elections are scheduled to hold on the 5th of October. Now, there are reports about the judgment of the court presided over by Justice Lifo, where it was said that, this election should not hold. And I'll start with Mr. Honorable Odu to talk about the elections, the court judgment and the governor's insistence on going on with the elections. What are your thoughts about that?
We are really surprised and shocked that we have a governor who has vowed not to adhere to the rules and regulations and the oath of office to which he swore. The governor has consistently been on the path of violating every known law, every known judgment. I have fingers to, or rather examples to pinpoint, but for now, it baffles us why the governor would rather want to shop for judgments in courts without jurisdiction. We all know that some certain courts have jurisdiction over issues while others don't. At different times, the governor will go shopping for orders in courts without jurisdiction and flagrantly violating and rejecting the ones that have jurisdiction.
All right, I would like to bring, okay, I think another follow-up to this is, so, Mr. Aldo, are you saying, without a shadow of doubt, now that the governor has decided that the elections are going on, what is the People's Democratic Party saying about it? What's the stance of the PDP?
No, it is not certain that the governor had decided. I think those are the grandstanding he normally adopts to still encourage his supporters to be around him. I am very sure that he will, before 5th, recalls himself to trying to come to terms with reality. I'm certain that the election will not hold, because for him to flagrantly disobey a court order or court judgment, that would be out of place.
All right, let's bring in Mr. Inkotaria as well to react to this. Mr. Inkotaria, your thoughts on the court judgment, regarding the elections, governor insisting. And Mr. Audu has said now that he believes the governor is grandstanding and that he will not go ahead with the elections on the 5th of October.
First, let me correct the impression that the governor has the penchant for disregarding court orders. That is not true. That is number one. Number two, you have 2 court orders, and none restrained the governor from conducting the elections. The lawful judgment they are talking about talked to restrain the INEC from releasing the voters' register to the governor. Now you also have a high court judgment, which are courts of equal jurisdiction, which went ahead and also restrained the governor to ensure that the local government elections are conducted, that is one, and also allowed them to use the 2023 voters register that is with them in the conduct of the local government elections. So the governor is not flouting any court order. That is number one. Number two, you also have a Supreme Court judge that has declared caretaker committees illegal. And so it is what you call the malum prohibitum. You can no longer have local government councils anymore in the Federation. And by the special grace of God, and with the intervention of the President Bola Tinubu, states were given 3 months grace to ensure local government elections are conducted. If the governor does not go ahead to conduct the local government election, the same persons today that are saying no, he should not conduct the local government are the same persons that will reproach him. And they are the same persons that will say he has committed delinquent acts because he has disobeyed Supreme Court judgment. So what is the controversy there is what I cannot even understand, I can't fathom. What is wrong with the conduct of local government elections? We all say, oh, the governors are tyrants, the governors, they leech on local government funds, they leech on this, they do that. Now the Supreme Court has come to say, okay, we want independence of the local government. And secondly, we don't want caretaker committees anymore. We want elected local government chairmen. And this is what the government is doing in sync with the Supreme Court judgment. And that is why it's conducting the local government election from 5th of October, which is on Saturday, 2024. And that date is sacrosanct. He's not going to refuse. He's not going to have a rethink when it comes to local government election. He also said yesterday in his broadcast. So nobody should think he's going to have a rethink when it comes to the local government elections. It will go on.
All right.
If you're not satisfied with the variety of the local government elections, you have the courts to go to, where you can question it. But the elections will take place.
All right, Mr. Alduam, let's come back to you. And of course, I'm going to, ask from not the president now, the governor's speech. He was quoting the court judgment. If you read from the speech, it says the legal impetus of RCEC to conduct the local government elections was further strengthened by the judgment of the River State High Court delivered on the 4th of September, which positively directed the governor of River State, the government of River State, and RCEC to conduct scheduled local government elections on the 5th of October. So, Mr. Alduam, which ruling are you speaking about that, stops the governor from going ahead with the local government elections?
Okay, thank you very much. But before I go into your question, or let me take that lastly, I will get back to my brother who tries to disprove my position of the governor flouting court judgments and the law. But before then, let me answer your question. Yes, Justice Lifu of the Federal High Court, Abuja, restrained INEC from providing the voters register to the governor. One of the reasons why they did that is the fact that, as I speak with you now, the governor does not operate the state with a budget. The budget that was wrongly passed by the Edisinehe administration, or rather Edisinehe illegal House of Assembly, was nullified by a court judgment of Justice Omotosho, and he was asked to represent it. As I speak with you now, the leverage of 6 months has expired, which any governor or government ought to operate without a budget before you get a budget. And then secondly, the instant laws of the RESEC stipulates the number of days and time that they are supposed to make public their intentions to conduct elections. Those are the grounds in which Justice Lifu asked INEC not to give their or send voters register to RESEC to conduct election. So if RESEC is not given the voters register to conduct election, one wonders where and how they want to carry on, because they must certainly use that. Okay, not only that, as at yesterday, INEC came up, the resident electoral commissioner of Rivers State, because the RESEC boss had admitted to the fact that he is in custody of the voters register. The INEC rec came and said, we have not given you the voters register. My brother knows. I have the clip. If I have your number, I'll send it to you, and I'm sure you have it. So with which voters register do they want to conduct the election? That's why I'm telling you that he's grandstanding. And then on the issue of my brother saying the governor is not known for violating and refusing to adhere to court rulings and orders, I want to refer him to Justice Omotoso's judgment. There are several orders that were given to the governor. The governor violated them till date. One of them is, please don't relocate. You don't have the powers to relocate the assembly. They will have the right to decide wherever they want to sit. The second is the fact that represent the budget. And several others. To this date, the governor has refused, I say it blatantly, to adhere to those judgments. And I think that this one will be the last.
And I believe that Mr. Nkotara does have a right of response. He's raised the issue of the 90 days notice that the governor, the 90 days notice that has been failed to be given, right? So we want you to respond to that. And he's also raised fresh issues. Well, not necessarily fresh issues. These are issues that we that have happened months ago, but have seemed to crop up in terms of determining the integrity of the governor's character.
Okay. Well, he talked of Omotoso's judgment, and let us also not forget, I'll soon come to the 90 days. Let us also not forget that because of the way our politicians go about, how do they call this, is it forum shopping or what they call it, you have all kinds of contradicting judgments. And when you find yourself in situations like that, or from courts of co-equal jurisdiction, when you find yourself in situations like that, of course you have a right to choose the one you want to choose, until it gets to Court of Appeal or Supreme Court, where the judgments are binding once they are delivered. And so that's why I say you cannot flout. You cannot accuse the governor of flouting court judgments. When you have about 2 court judgments, one is saying yes, one is saying no. I have a right to choose the one I want to choose. And in such situations, I cannot be accused of flouting any court judgments. That is number one. Number two, he talked of the 90 days. Well, in all fairness, like I say, Osa and Olive, I'm not a member of any political party. And I decided not to be a member of any political party because I want to speak freely and without bias. I don't know if the 90 days as prescribed, if the 90 days notice as prescribed was given. I will not come on air to say yes or no to that. If the SEAC should be in a position to give that notice, or those that are participating in the elections should be in a better position to tell the world if they got a 90 days notice. I don't know if that 90 days notice was given or not, and I'm going to pontificate. I'm not going to speak on that. That is the truth about that.
Yeah.
But when you talk of the issue of court judgments, no, that's why I say it would not be fair, it would be mendacious to say the governor is disobeying court judgments. It's not true. When you have 2 court judgments, I have a right to choose the one I want to choose. We are all human beings and we are prone to that human frailty. Nobody will not dive into a fire just to get burnt.
Yeah, all right.
If I see a fire and I see an AC chilling room, I'll walk into the AC chilling room.
Yeah.
Definitely. And until you get an arbiter, a Shibira arbiter who will come to tell us, no, where you walked into is wrong or is right.
Yeah. Well,
so until that is wrong,
kindly hold on.
We cannot accuse
So just to confirm, just like, Mr. Aldu mentioned, I did see the video from INEC yesterday. I think it was out yesterday, saying that they have not given the voters register to RESIEC yet. And of course, they are respecting court orders, to not give them. So I think that one is, very fine.
Well, let me quickly respond. Yes, let me quickly respond to that. The SEAC chairman said he's in possession of the 2023 voters register, which was used. Unless they are talking of the updated voters register, I don't know if there's an updated one. And if the SEAC chairman is saying he's in possession of that, then which other register are they talking about? Which other register do you need to conduct the local government elections? But then they tell us that after the 2023, you have the updated voters register. Well, I don't know if there is an updated voters register. But that of 2023, of course, even before now, was in the position of River State Independent Electoral Commission, because it was also used to conduct local government elections.
Okay.
And it was also used even for the general elections. So if the SEAC chairman came on air to say, I am in possession of that document, Which other document do you want?
What of security?
You see, they'll come up with
Mr. Inko,
to hamstring.
Yes, so
sorry.
if the chairman says he has documents, what of security? Is that a concern? Because from what you have said now, they're both conflicting judgments from two courts of coordinate jurisdiction, and the governor has decided which one he wants to follow. But one of the courts has said that, you know, the IGP should not give security to the elections should they happen on the 4th and on the 5th. Is there a concern for security?
Also the court in River State too that has also mandated the security agencies to ensure they maintain law and order during the elections.
All right, let's move away from the election conversation and talk about the hold that Nyesom Wike has or seems to have on River State. And I'll have Honorable Odru first of all speak on that before I have you respond to it. Honorable Collins Odru, what is it? It does seem that the grip that Nyesom Wike, the former governor of River State, has on River State is not letting go. And we've seen conversations about PDP governors supporting Wike and warning Fubara. But there have also been criticism. People have asked Nyesom Wike to step aside. His time in office is over. And he should focus on being the minister of the FCT. What is your response to that?
My response to that is the fact that the governor lacks managerial ability. Former Governor Nyesom Wike is in Abuja carrying out his daily activities. It is for the governor to sit back here and harness the human and capital resources around him to create a conducive atmosphere for him to govern. But rather, the governor is the one who's been aggressive here. You can see how he walked to the River State House of Assembly quarters like a King Kong with violent intimidation. You can see how he went to the House of Assembly complex and broke it down. The governor is the one that is an aggressor here. Leave Nyesom Wike out of this because Nyesom Wike has no part to play. He is just a citizen of River State who his benefactor has fallen out with, and he has taken that in good conscience and shape. The man is the one who cannot make use of what is available to him. You see, we have bad managers and we have good managers. There is no way a bad manager can achieve good results, and that is what is going on.
Okay. Inkotara, quickly your response to that as well. You know, Mr. Odru says the FCT Minister Nyesom Wike has no hand in what's going on in River State. He's focused on the FCT. But many would argue that all these, you know, things that we're talking about this morning, you know, the Federal High Court ruling, and of course, you know, the INEC decision also to withhold the voters register based on the court ruling are all orchestrated by the FCT minister. Do you agree or do you support Honorable Odru's claims?
My dear brother, we all know, you know, truth is incontrovertible. Malice may distort it, ignorance may divide it, but there it is. Nyesom Wike himself, the FCT minister himself, has said on several occasions that they will continue to give Fubara trouble. It's on tape. Even recently when he came to River State, I think over the last weekend or so, when he was hosted by certain persons who refer to themselves as a Joe, whatever. He said the same thing. We all know that Nyesom Wike is the masterhead, is the arrowhead, is the mastermind of what is going on in River State, simply because the governor has refused to owe fealty to him. It's as simple as that. And he has said it, even when he had the media chat, he has said it on several occasions that he will continue to give the governor trouble. He has said it. He's not hiding that he's part of, or he's even the one that is stimulating the crisis in River State. He has not hidden that fact. So I'm surprised that my brother would come on air to try to divorce Nyesom Wike from the crisis in River State, when we all know that he's the one engineering the crisis in River State. And the issue of the governor, what has the governor done? If you observe, most times incendiary statements are being made by Nyesom Wike. Even when they had that sham they call the PDP Congress in River State, for the first time you have a Congress in the hall, in just one small room. When they had that sham, his governors, for ministers, echoed the same tracks. So we all know that he's the one stimulating, instigating crisis All he's trying to do is to ensure, he said it himself, that we're going to give them trouble. You know what? He said it. He also said it. He also advised the former House of Assembly members who are in court today, having galloped through the fields of legislative rascality. Now you want to come back to say no, because you've gotten to the height of errors. You want to rescind your decision that no, you're no longer a member of the House. Anyway, that matter has been subjected to the clinical probation of the legal lab, so we are not even going to discuss that. Let's wait for the appeal court and the Supreme Court to decide on that. If it was the case of legislative somnambulism, when you defected. So we all know that Nyesom Wike is behind the whole crisis, and the man has not hidden that fact. Well, I don't know why my brother will want to insulate him from what is going on in Rivers State. No. He is not just part of it. He is the mastermind. But
PDP doesn't seem to agree or think that he's behind it. In fact, they've asked that, there should be, they've apologized on behalf of Fubara, and saying that the governor lacks political will. How do you see this whole drama ending in Kotari?
The governor lacks, when you say the governor lacks the political will, it's because the governor is trying to be sentimental, considering how he emerged as governor of Rivers State. It is one irrefragable fact that the FCT minister was instrumental to his emergence. And so you find out that he found it very difficult to even react or respond to the FCT minister at the initial stage. And that is the level of gratitude that, yes, this man was instrumental to my emergence. So whatever he says, whatever he does, I should be able to brook it.
All right.
But when a man is pushed to the wall, he passes back with double effort. He has been pushed to the wall by the FCT minister, and that is why you see him reacting the way he's reacting.
Yeah, all right, hold on.
And the governors, I don't understand, because the governors forum, recently, the FCT minister last out at the governors, the PDP governors, who declared their support for the governor of Rivers State. So when you say the governors, the PDP governors are against the governor of Rivers State, I really can't fathom that. I don't understand where that is coming from.
Yeah.
Well, because recently...
Right. And that's an important point that you've made. That's an important point that you've made. I'm saying that's an important point that you've made, and let's have Mr. Odu speak on that. How do you say that the FCT minister, is not involved in River State politics or River State, affairs currently, when, just a few weeks ago, we heard him warning other governors to steer clear of River State. If not, he will put fire in their state. So if you remember that statement very clearly.
Exactly.
So, Mr. Odu, what do you think about that? I mean, go ahead, please.
Oh, thank you very much. I thought I was here to watch my brother Nabon Kutera to be making comments. Thanks for the audience. But another thing, please, let us try and moderate our language. He used the language ignorance. I mean, at my level, I don't think I deserve that kind of, and I would request him for a soft apology on that. Back to the point. You referred to when a PDP stalwart said the governor lacks the ability
political skill,
govern, the political will to govern.
Skill, I correct that, skill.
Yeah, skill to govern, and that's a good one. Then you can imagine that he has the party as a governor, he has House of Assembly, he has all other facets of the state. He is in loggerhead with virtually all of them. Okay, if it is the FCT minister that is instigating his problems, will the FCT minister also be blamed for not procuring or seeking to get the voters register? The last time I checked, elections into the local government was conducted way back when 4 years ago. And that is to the extent that RISEC should have in custody voters register. So anything that they claim to have now, INEC says we did not give it to you. But back to the Honorable Minister, he is on his own. He is trying to survive in the state where he he governed very creditably and with accolades, and somebody is coming to destroy it. You can imagine a comment made by the governor that he's renovating psychiatric hospital in readiness for his benefactor. So I still want to stand on the ground that the governor should concentrate and forget that, because if he's getting things right, he won't be having issues. He won't be having problems. Nobody will mention Governor Nyesom Wike. Governor Nyesom Wike, I don't see how he does he sign papers for him? Does he do anything for him? He's at loggerhead with the assembly. Let him go and reconcile with them. These are the areas that one expects him to use managerial skill to show that he is capable of running the state. But all of these are to no avail.
All right. Well, you didn't address the actual question that I raised, but we're out of time. Honorable Collins Odu, thank you very much for your time this morning.
Let me first and foremost,
okay, we'll go on a very quick break. When we come back, we'll have you both respond.
All right.
We'll have you both respond, but we need to go on a very quick break now, shortly. Welcome back. We're still looking at the drama going on in River State, and we'll still have Mr. Inkotaria and Honorable Collins Odu. Mr. Inkotaria, before we went on the break, you wanted to respond to a statement made by Mr. Odu, and the floor is yours.
If you could refresh my memory, you said I said you're ignorant or something like that. Well, first of all, ignorance is not an insult. I can be ignorant of something. I might not be cognizant of something. So I don't know if you're offended by that. I mean, the world knows that when I come on air, I don't use certain words to offend my colleagues on the other side. I don't do that.
All right.
But in what context? In what context, please? I can't remember. If I said you cannot feign ignorance, if I said that, that's not an insult.
All right. Thanks for clarifying that. I'm sure Honorable Odu understands what you mean. Honorable, go ahead if you want to also. Please go ahead. And also, I asked a question earlier that you didn't respond.
Before I go into what I want to say.
Yeah, Honorable Odu, apologies, but I asked a question earlier that you didn't respond to, and that was again the involvement of.
I wanted to address something. I just wanted to address something. That's an aside.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
yes.
Let's have Honorable Odu quickly respond to my question, please.
Okay, in response to your question, the Honorable Minister of FCT cannot be held responsible for whatever is going on in River State. He has addressed us after the congresses. He said there are investments you make and they go in shambles. Therefore, you people should take heart. This one should be regarded as such. And said we should wait for 2027. He made that. My brother is aware of that. So if somebody had made such statement, he has given up on. He doesn't want to know if he assisted him anymore. Let him go, if that is his will. And then on the issue of the state governors he won, in River State, one of the things that the former governor has insisted was don't destroy the structure. Don't destroy the structure. And the structure is the party. So the Honorable Minister has decided to put in good condition his structure to be able to withstand other elections in the state, unlike a situation where the governor is trying to destroy it. So he's telling other PDP governors, please don't attempt to destroy or assist him to destroy the structure. Let's have PDP intact so we can withstand any forces. If you do that, it's a condition. If you do that, I will have what I can do in your state. So it's a conditional issue. Please, just allow me to rest.
All right, we have to wrap up now. Mr. Inkotaria, you have 1 minute, please. And as you wrap up to that, as you respond to that, Mr. Inko, please just share with us how you think all of this drama will end between Nyesom Wike, Siminalayi Fubara, and the people of River State.
That statement from the FCT minister is a threat to PDP governors, asking them to divert themselves from the crisis because he's scared that with the help of the PDP governors, of course, the sitting governor of Rivers State was going to transcend in whatever warfare, whatever competition they have. And that is his fear. So he's saying, stay away. Otherwise, I will put trouble in your state. I'll stimulate crisis in your state. The FCT minister we are talking about is involved in practically all the states in the federation. If we come to, have you forgotten how he was donating buses and cash to contestants in other states? Cross River State, Adamawa, and so on. He's involved. So how can you now say that the PDP, this is a brother governor from PDP, and the man is being attacked constantly by his predecessor, and you say the governor should remain silent? It's not possible. You have the governor's forum, and they came out to speak. You cannot ask them to stay away. And not just that, you now threaten them that should they continue to support the governor of River State, then he's going to ensure crisis in their states.
All right.
That's infantry. It shouldn't come from somebody of his status. Because let me also tell you, again, you should also realize that meaning is not in the message, but always in the message user. In what was spoken is past record. Once you say a thing, it's subject to program interpretations. And this is the interpretation the world has given to it.
All right.
That it's a threat to the PDP government. Because they are supporting the government. Now, if you want to come out of it, the partners here to all this crisis is simple. Because it's, like I always say, the pestilence of godfatherism is the genesis of the crisis. Allow this man to rule.
Thank you very much,
the respect you want, but do not.
All right, gentlemen, we have to go, unfortunately, because we're out of time. Thank you so much. Thank you, Honorable Collins Odru. Thank you, Mr. Inkutarian. We hope to have you join us again. We'll find out what the 5th of October has and what, how the elections will or will not turn out. And we hope that we can have the both of you join us during and maybe after the elections.
Welcome once again to Breakfast Central. Let's get you through the newspapers this morning, sharing with you the major stories making headlines across Nigeria. We're joined by the publisher CKN News, Chris Kendewandu, to, of course, x-ray these stories. Good morning, and thanks for joining us, sir.
Good morning. Thanks for having me this morning.
All right, let's kick off on this Nigerian newspapers this morning. Interesting story there. It says reps blow hot over CFR honor for Speaker Abbas. It says it raises dust over president's decision to award Akpabio, Kikirekun, GCON, while Abbas gets lower award. That's very interesting. No upper or lower chamber. We are equal, they insist. Their argument is that the Speaker and, of course, the CJN should, or rather, the CJN should not get an award higher than the award given to the Speaker of the House, who was meant to be honored with the CFR. And, of course, she was getting GCON. Nigeria requires $410 billion to deliver energy transition plan by 2060, says ECN. Tinubu begins 2-week annual leave in the UK. Confab, ethnic nationalities, youth leaders hail president. It's a distraction, says Huriwa. And in Niger State, 70 bodies recovered, many missing after a boat with 300 passengers capsizes.
All right, let's move away to the Daily Independent newspaper. On the front page of the Daily Independent, federal government removed VAT on diesel cooking gas to crash prices. Gazette's regulation on withholding tax begins implementation January 1st. Herdsmen kill 2 soldiers, 6 others, and cut away arms on page 6. Protesters occupy Ondo INEC office, want REC the wreck removed. Tinubu jets out to UK on annual leave. Israel bans UN Secretary General from entering country. Excuse me. Leave now. Federal government advises Nigerians in Lebanon. How are they going to leave? Are we making plans for them? Anyway, APC vows to oppose Rivers October 5th local government election. Bamidele denies working against Yoruba interest. Emirates in talks with Nigerian Airlines for code-share agreement. Reps reject CFR national honor conferred on Speaker Abbas. Demand same GCUN award conferred on Akpabio. Mogalu, former APC chieftain, joins Labour Party. Atiku seeks rotational presidency, strengthening of electoral laws. Local government poll. Governor Fubara declares October 3rd and 4th public holidays, restricts movement from midnight Friday to 5 p.m. Saturday. And that's all on the Daily Independent. Now let's take a look at the leadership.
On the leadership this morning, 169 passengers feared dead in Niger boat mishap. 31 rescued, 70 bodies recovered. Very sad story. Tinubu embarks on a 2-week leave. Local Government Election Commission bill will kill democracy, says NNPP. And also, Israel slams travel ban on UN Chief Guterres over Iran. Just be a reminder, you know, the strikes in Gaza have killed more than 100 or maybe 150 UN workers, by the way. Scores dead as bandits clash in Katsina State. Poverty in northern Nigeria on the increase, as minister. And also, Boko Haram, Ali Ndume seeks engagement of mercenaries to fight Boko Haram in the northern part of Nigeria. I think we should start with, you know, the president's trip to the UK, you know, for his annual leave. He's going to relax and use the time to also ponder on Nigeria's economic realities and, you know, his administration's run so far. So I mean, is it wrong for anyone who finds it awkward?
Well, you started from there. I had wanted to start with the National Assembly and the Honors Award, but since you've brought the president's trip into the midst, let's deal with it. The president has a right to go on annual leave. He's a human being. You go your own annual leave. I do. So I don't see any problem with that. But my question and my problem with that is that, have you ever seen the Prime Minister of United Kingdom or the President of the United States, when they go on leave, they travel to another country to go on leave? That should be fundamental to us. Why is it that Nigerian leaders, when they want to go on leave, the first place they go to UK or they go to the United States, especially UK? I don't even know what we have. We've untied our umbilical cord with United Kingdom since 1960. So I don't know why every president will want to go, starting with Buhari. So you ask yourself, why is the president going to UK? That is one. Two, we still have so many fundamental issues. That the president just came back from China. On his way from China, he branched in UK. He didn't tell us what he went there to do. He was there for some days, and we thought he has gone on our world again. Only for us to see some videos, although nobody could be able to clarify that, but finally he came back. The presidency promised us that the president is going to rejig his ministers. And they were specific that on or before the 1st of October. If I got that right, if I got that statement right, today is the 3rd. Nothing has been said. He has delivered his speech, his anniversary speech, and we've gone silent again on the issue of ministers. And he himself said that by his words, by the words of his spokespersons, that the ministers, most of them are not performing optimally. Yeah. And this is 16 months since the president took over as the president. What have we been able to achieve in this last year? So those are the... So he had his work cut out. I don't have any problem with him going on leave, as I said. But the fact is that there's so much work to be done. In his speech, last speech, he said he has put his hand on the plow. But when you put your hand on the plow, you don't look back. I think even it's biblical. They say put your hand on it. Those are the words that we used to use, toast babes in those days. When we were in the university. Put my hands on your plow, I'm not going to look back. Oh, Lori. But the fact remains that the president has so much work. Nigerians are dying of hunger. Insecurity is on the high. Students can't go to school because their parents cannot afford sending them to school. The cost of drug is on an all-time high. And we just finished an Independence Day celebration. Dollars is, as of yesterday, dollar is about 1,700. The pounds are rating to about 225 or 215 or thereabout. 2,215 or 2,000. So those are mirage of problems that we have. So for me, the president should be just rolling up his sleeves. This is not time for him to go and leave. And he said we should not pity him. He said that, you know, that he was well prepared for this job. And he has been preparing for this job since 1999. Not when since he became the governor of Lagos State. The president has been eyeing that seat. So much expectation. But he say he needs some rest. Well, let us wait and see. I want to believe, because of the timing, because there is a constitutional provision now that if the president is going on leave, depending on the period, that he should transmit power to the deputy, the vice president. I don't think he's ever done that. I don't think he has done that. But that's why I say it has a time frame. I'm sure that it has a time frame. So maybe they are bridging that time frame. If it's not more than 2 weeks or there, I can't
just 2 weeks.
Now.
I think it's way longer than that.
If it's not more than 2-3 weeks, then he has to transmit. But I think it's going forward. Let's wait and see. But the president, wherever you are, just as you're arresting, just know that Nigerians are not arresting. Fundamental.
Okay, now you can get into the controversy in the House concerning CFR honor for Speaker Abbas and, of course, GCON for Kikereko.
Unnecessary controversy. But let me even start like this. What have the Speaker, the Senate President, or the CGN achieved that they deserve national honor? That's where we should start from. 1 year in office, 1 of 16 months, 14 months. What have they done? What has the President of the Senate achieved that they deserve a national honor? What has the Speaker of the House done that deserve such a national honor? The CGN that is just taking office just about 2 weeks, 3 weeks ago. What has she done? So those are the issues for me. Not even whatever we deserve, because this is honor. These are honor. You are being honored for what we have achieved. I would have thought that it is at the expiration of every tenure that you can say, oh, for what we have done for Nigeria, for what you have done for the people, for what we bestow you with this honor. But we always like putting the cart before the horse. That is one for me. Then going to the issues raised by this, and I ask you, it's just that these guys are just unnecessary. For goodness sake, you said the National Assembly is one, the House of Representatives and that of Senate, they are equal, and I say no. We have 3 senators from each state. For House of Representatives, it's based on federal constituencies. In Kano alone, you have over 40 House of Representative members. That is one side. The provision of the 1999 Constitution make it clear the roles of the Senate and that of the... Let's start with this. It is only the Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria that confirms ministers. The House of Representatives don't do that. If they're going to be basic board appointment like CBN and the rest of them governor, it is the Senate. It is the Senate that confirms the Chief Justice of Nigeria. The House of Representatives have nothing to do with that. So when you look at the fundamental, I'm not trying to build some kind of but I'm telling you that by the provision of the 1999 Constitution, as amended, the Senate and House of Representatives had it. So whether that in itself should be a reason why the Senate President should be GCON or whatever it is neither here nor there. But my own take is that they are not deserving. For me, those that are deserving, let me say, I stand to be corrected. There's a woman, an Igbo woman, that the governor of Borno State went to the state, a primary school teacher, a secondary primary school teacher, that the governor said when he got to that school at about 5 a.m. or 6 a.m., some time ago, that he saw that woman in the school already. That he was shocked that woman was in school. He was a primary school teacher. Despite the high level of insecurity in Maiduguri and Borno State, that he was shocked that somebody that is not even from the state is a primary. And that woman was promoted. I think he promoted the woman to other assistant, teacher or head teacher. My brother, that is a woman that deserves a honor. Because when you do that, you motivate
there's people like that.
That is those people like that. Those are the kind of people. When you do that, you motivate them. I don't know the young man that is this thing. The list is not yet out, so let me not preempt what is going. There's a young man that worked with FAN, Federal Aviation Authority, FAAN, and that was sweeping. Was it one of the international airlines in Abuja? I think in Abuja. And because of sweeping that, the guy saw $30,000 cash.
And he returned it. So the woman you're talking about now is Mrs. Obiageli Mazi.
You must have got it.
According to the reports, the governor gave her 100,000 naira, increased her salary from 35,000.
I don't know whether she has been given her national
100,000. Yeah.
I know that governor. So what I'm saying is that we should. This is not. If you look at that list when it comes out, 90% of them will be politicians.
Okay.
Yeah, but the thing is, I mean, I think before President Bola left, he also gave national honors to, a variety of people.
Including celebrities.
Yeah, exactly. So there are those honors, but the GCO and the CFR, they're very likely referred to a certain class of people. But I get your argument that these people haven't necessarily done anything to make them worthy of...
The Senate President has gotten an award, I think CON, when he was governor or something like that. But what I'm saying is that what has Godswin Akpabio achieved in the last 16 or 14 months that he has been Senate President?
Okay. You've made reference to the fact that the list has been politicized, the list of those who have received these honors. Let's talk about another list that some have said will be politicized, and that's if the confab does happen, who and who will make it to the list, who will be the youths that will make it to the list. So there are different arguments. This Nigerian newspaper says ethnic nationalities, confab, ethnic nationalities, youth leaders hail president. While some are hailing the president that this is a good idea, there are others who are criticizing it. And I'll come back to take your thoughts regarding the confab. But let's hear from Lenin calling from Abuja. Good morning, Lenin.
Good morning, Olive. Good morning, everyone in the studio.
Good morning.
I want to commiserate the people that died in Niger State, the 300 people like died. May their soul rest in peace. Amen. I want to talk about this award. You know, the analysts, they said, what are they awarding them for? They're awarding them for putting Nigeria in hardship. So it's a very, very simple thing. Because in a normal sense, if you want to sit down them and talk, it doesn't make sense to a sane person. Like, it doesn't make sense to a sane person. What are you awarding them for? Abbas, what are you awarding Abbas for? What has he done? What bill has he sponsored? What has he done to other 9 Nigerians? And for the president traveling to the UK for medical checkup, it just shows that our healthcare system is bad. That is just it.
But he hasn't said he's going for health reasons. He's going for his holiday, his annual leave.
Holiday, okay, annual leave. We all know these things. The last time, some people saw him in the hospital, so we all know these things. Let's call it straight away. Now, let's say something. Let me say something. In a family, if the father provides food and he doesn't eat from the... if a father provides food and the mother cooks and the mother always goes outside to eat, that means our food is not sweet. That is it. That is just a simple thing. That is just a simple analogy.
All right. Or they're quarreling. They're having husband and wife quarrel. It's either of those.
Thank you,
Thank you, Lenny.
So he's over.
Have you ever had to eat outside for any...
when the needs arises, why not?
No, because of fight.
No, because
fight. In those days, I think those days, it was much easier for our parents to just say, when you quarrel, when dad did quarrels with mom just bring food, and I say, just tie wrapper in the house. Now, if you leave that food, before you move to the next wave, somebody has delivered.
All right.
One guy go wire.
Let's talk about confab. And your thoughts regarding the logic behind confab and the impact or lack of it that you think it will have.
Well, I'm sure you must have discussed this severally, but my personal take is just a total waste of time. Absolute total waste of time. Because what you want to achieve with the confab, youth confab, there's nothing that you want to achieve that those that have been protesting on the streets have not told you. The end bad governance protest, the one happened a few days ago. You know all the problems. We all know the barrage of problems.
Yep.
That this, for me, is just diversionary. And for goodness sake, you want to have a youth confab for 30 days, 1 month, what will you be discussing? You'll be wasting money, wasting resources. You are going to accommodate the people. You are going to pay for their transportation. You are going to feed them, definitely.
People who start lobbying for contracts.
That is just another money for the boys. And at the end of it, so you come to realize that 99.9% of those that are going to be youth from the parties, mostly from the ruling party. The OK boys. So for goodness sake, do we need to waste resources? Just what do you want to discuss? Let me even consider there is need for us to talk to the youth. For goodness sake, 1-2 days, is it not enough for you to have a body discussion?
Our guest yesterday pointed out the UN General Assembly, United, it's not more than 3 days. So what is...
That is what I'm asking you. So what are you going to... It's just diversity. It is just the same problem we've been having, where they say, we're going to give money to certain individuals. We have over 15 million on the list. We have been disbursing 50,000, 100,000, blah, blah. Bring out that list. Let us have a look at it. Nobody's trying to... And I continue to ask, why is it that our government continue to make the same mistake? Is it that they are taking us as fools? Or they believe we are so naive, or they believe that we just don't know what we're doing. For goodness sake, this youth, they want to gather together. Over 80-90% of them don't have jobs. We don't keep data in this country, and that is the problem. Because if we keep data, you come to know that out of every 10 Nigerian graduates, at least 8 of them, that is those that have finished their youth service or qualify, at least 8 of them will not get a job. So have you discussed the issue of creating more jobs, making the environment very, very... Practically everybody is jackpot. And there was something I was saying the other day, and people are laughing at me. Doctors are jackpot. Nurses are jackpot. Even journalists are jackpot. Bankers, professionals. Why is it that we don't have politicians jackpot from Nigeria?
Well, because they have fluidity of movement from here and there, from here to...
No, because they are enjoying. Forget what is fluidity in Oyibo now. It's true. Because the only thriving job in Nigeria now is politics. If you don't hit, you don't hammer. If you don't hit, you do. Yeah. Then the second one closer to it is, you should ask me, religion or pastors. Those are the two for me. Any other thing, look at the sectors, economic sectors. Everything is going down. People cannot afford to eat. And I continue to say this. Eat. Now, we'll not talk of accommodation, no. Because a certain set of people that buy new clothes. Since this one where I wear so, it don't do over 3 years for my body. I can't remember when last I decided to go and get new clothes.
All right, let's quickly speak with Etim from the FCT as well. Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Morning.
Good morning, Etim.
Go ahead.
Yes, my name is Eki. I'm calling from Abuja. Good morning, Oli.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir, and good morning to the guests in the studio. I just want to quickly, first of all, commiserate with those that died in the Niger issue. But please, it's high time the maritime or whatever association in Nigeria do something about getting life jackets for these villagers. It can be enforced so that you don't go on the waters without life jacket. We just cannot continue to treat the symptoms rather than treating or dealing with the issues or the root issues of all these problems. Every now and then, this is what you hear all over the river Nigeria. It's got to stop. That is for that. Secondly, on this whole youth confab or whatever they want to call it, it's just a waste of time, just as the guest has said. We should please do things better the way it's done in civilized world. And then finally, on this whole electoral thing, please, I think it's high time, taking a clue from what happened in Edo State, I think it's high time we stop talking about buying of votes. Please, buying of votes is not the issue. We should deal with the core issue, which, of course, has to do with electoral reform. So rather than having harsh bad governance, harsh fearless, let's have harsh electoral reform. That is the pain of Nigeria's problem. Anytime you continue to talk about the issue of buying of votes, Nigerians are hungry, that's why they vote their vote, they cheated their vote. Please, you're only key into what the politicians want to hear. The civil society, they get a lot of money from outside. The government knows that. So the civil society, the media, and everybody come together and say, harsh electoral reform, harsh electoral reform, harsh electoral reform. That is what we need in this country. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you very much for calling, Etim. So many issues that Etim has highlighted.
Yes, let me just take off from where he stopped. When we're talking about, I say this time and time again, what we are practicing is civilian government, not democracy. What Nigeria is currently practicing, probably from 1919, I'm not just saying because of just this current, is civilian government. Because the simple definition, remember the simple definition of democracy?
Government of the people, for the people, and by the people.
Then if you equate that with what is happening, are the government that we've been having, are they the government of the people? Are they elected by the people? So except we can be able to get that narrative right, then what we're just... So I want to continue repeating that. What we are practicing in Nigeria is, there's a difference between civilian government and democracy. Until people's vote start counting. You saw in Edo State, election, just about, the turnout was about 25-29%. That is huge. That means you are talking about close to about 70% of the people refuse to come and vote.
Yeah.
And it could be several factors, including voters apathy. because they believe that their vote won't count. And I've said it time and time again that in the Nigerian system, the Nigerian political class, the politics, when you go to university, the University of Nigerian Politics, if you go to the University of Nigerian Politics, what you learn are fundamental three things. Number one, politics 101, rigging. Politics 102, how to use thugs. Politics 103, probably because, win by all costs, then go to the courts using the judiciary. That is practically what everybody is doing. So, except we agree, and that's why I totally agree with Etim, but we must make sure that we have an umpire that is unbiased. We have a system, security agencies that are unbiased. We have a situation where Nigerians know that they can willingly go out to vote, and their vote is going to count. If you know that you're going to go, for goodness sake, the United States is going to vote in November. Everybody, do you know that they've started voting already?
Yeah.
Those that are outside the country, what they used to call it, there's a name they have for it, diaspora voters. They will vote. And they make sure that those votes, that when they now properly have the election, those votes in the diaspora will count. But here, the one that we're even doing here is not even counting.
But so not yet ready for that. Even though we don't have the structures for that, but like you said, we've not even been able to conduct free, fair, credible elections here.
Until we do that, this issue of democracy is... Then just to talk about the issue of the life that we are lost. Yes, that's rounding up. The life that we are lost, for goodness sake. And I like what, I don't know which of the speakers said. He was talking about issue of life jackets.
So according to reports, we're hearing that what may have led to it is overloading.
How can a boat carry 300 people? Sheep, how many people do a sheep carry? And that is not just, that is people. You're not talking about the loads. So I think that the agencies of government, what's the...
NEMA?
No, not NEMA. There's a particular charge of maritime, this thing. Yeah. I know. They came out a few days ago to give guidelines. Everybody that wants to go must have jacket, and one of them and the rest of them. But the fact is that, and is that, if you have gone through the trajectory, Niger State have been so consistent with that.
All right.
And that loss of lives.
We need to go. I think, it should be criminalized. If you carry passengers with a life jacket, you should go to jail. All right. Thanks very much, Chris Kendewandu, for your thoughts this morning. And thanks to our callers and those who, of course, watching us across the world and across Nigeria. We'll take a short break. When we come back, we continue the conversations this morning. We'll also like to let you know what Nigerians are saying.
President Bola Tinubu is on holiday, and this has been announced that he's taking his annual leave to the United Kingdom. Of course, this has necessitated a number of reactions, many people criticizing what this move might mean. The interpretations given would be that, have you ever seen other leaders in other countries traveling to, Nigeria, for example, to spend their annual leave? Whilst they're not criticizing the president for going on his annual leave, as he does have a right to. But the question is, why is now the right time? Is it not a bit insensitive, especially seeing as the elections the Independence Day has been marred with protests, and Nigerians are still in a really, really sticky position. Now, these are the photos that were posted on the official handle. It says President Bola Tinubu will depart Abuja today for the United Kingdom to begin a 2-week vacation, part of his yearly leave. He will use the 2 weeks as a working vacation and a retreat to reflect on his administration's economic reforms. He'll return to the country after the leave expires. And as expected, Nigerians have not been taking it very nicely on social media. So we're going to Twitter, to X, to see what the reactions to this tweet is. And we'll take our first tweet now. It says, wishing you a safe trip, Mr. President. We will be honored if you will spend your next vacation with us here in Nigeria. It will be truly appreciated. Sincerely, a patriotic Nigeria. Now, I cannot say if this tweet is sarcastic or if they mean it, but yeah, that's what the first person says. And now to the next tweet. Still talking about this, it says, this is a joke, annual leave, while the country is in a state of higgledy-piggledy. Very interesting word. First, moved to UK for emergency medical. Second, cancelled hunger trip and flew back to Nigeria. Third, now going on leave back to UK. Something is not right here. That's from Daily Justice. And now the next tweet we have, he needs to rest. He's really working hard for Nigeria. Nigeria's economy is #1 in Africa and 10th in the world. It is going to be a chaotic 2 long weeks because everyone under him will now be doing anyhow. Those that went to or want to lobby to be retained in the cabinet will troop to London back to back to pay homage, and anarchy looms in River State for power play during local government election on Saturday. And the next it says, Nigeria is too small to do annual leave in. Let's remember that this is a public office. People read meaning into whatever the president does. How many presidents come to Nigeria for annual leave? This is from Ohis Lawrence. Let's take another tweet. This one says, Tinubu asked you people yesterday to be patient with his administration as you continue with your suffering. Meanwhile, today he just rushed down to London for a small 2 weeks vacation. I mean, I would love that as well. Leslie Achesonwe says, may this vacation come with cabinet shakeups. Remember that there have been talks about cabinet shakeups most likely happening. And a final tweet from Pascal says, this annual leave will favor me and my family. Okay, I think we have one more tweet we'll take. And this next tweet is from Abdullahi, who says, LOL, leave from working hard doing nothing. Actually, making Nigerians poorer. I don't suppose anyone needs a leave doing absolutely nothing. And there you have it. Those are the tweets from Nigerians reacting to the announcement of the president's trip to London, to the United Kingdom, for his annual leave. Again, the criticism would be not that the president is not entitled to rest or to his annual leave, but that right now might not, one, be the most sensitive time because Nigerians are going through a really rough patch with the October 1st independence celebrations that were very low-key and also very chaotic in some parts with protests that were springing out. But also, the look that it portrays, you know, to the West, to other parts of the country, to say, why is the president leaving his country to go to another country? Why can't he be in Aso Rock? Why can't he, like, you know, the president of America would do, go to a Camp David? Since we don't have Camp David, why can't he just remain in Aso Rock? Or maybe go to any of his other places within the country? These are some of the sentiments that have been expressed by Nigerians, and that's all that we have this morning on what Nigerians are saying.
Well, of course, the conversations will continue this morning. Obviously, Nigerians aren't very happy with the decision of Mr. President to go over to the UK to spend his annual leave. And, you know, just like everyone, you know, has mentioned, it's not necessarily abnormal or wrong for the president to have his leave. Everybody deserves to have their annual leave and a bit of rest from working so hard all year. But optically, just looks very, very wrong, you know. And I've constantly harped on that same message that there are governments in the world that we all know aren't as good as they claim to be. But what they have going for them, you know, is a reasonably decent body language, you know, that carries empathy. So in places where they fail with performance, they are able to show at least some level of empathy with the people that they govern. And that, you know, carries them, you know, above, just across the finish line, somehow, some way. But in the Nigerian context, you know, that doesn't seem to be important in any way. Any level of empathy is completely disregarded. Any opportunity to show empathy with the people is completely disregarded. And it also doesn't look good in any way that it is being explained that it is necessary for a president to leave his home country and travel to another country entirely to holiday for 2 weeks. Every now and then you hear about the United States president going on, you know, going to play golf somewhere, you know, because it's taking a rest. You see President Biden on the beach somewhere in Delaware, you know, but that's within the United States. And even if you don't want to use the United States because that's not a fair comparison, okay, but we don't get to see a lot of African presidents just randomly and routinely travel to a different country for holiday, to just stay there. And when they do, they're criticized heavily for it. That's not like that. We don't. We criticize them heavily for it. So it's the same level of criticism, you know, that the current Nigerian president will receive for making such a decision to simply just leave your country. And just like I stated earlier, that just like former President Muhammadu Buhari, to still have to travel outside Nigeria to receive medical care, it tells you nothing more than for 8 years while he was president, he wasn't able to fix one hospital good enough within Nigeria for him as president to receive medical care. And it's pretty much the same thing with President Tinubu. If you remember, you know, just after his inauguration, there was, I think, one time or the other where he also had to leave, go abroad, you know, for unclear reasons. People were insinuating it was medical health related. Nobody knows. But the point is, it really just tells you that the country is still not good enough for its leader to either receive medical care or to holiday. And that's not a good sign in any way, and it should not be defended at all.
All right. Thank you very much and that's all we have today on Which Way Nigeria. It's a rainy morning here in Lagos, Nigeria. We hope that if you're at work, you have a good day. If you're heading to work, you have a safe drive. But we'll be back again same time tomorrow to wrap up this week's edition of Breakfast Central. Thank you for your time. I am Olive Emodi.
And I am Osaoge Ogbawa. See you tomorrow.